At least we're done with the corona stuff. That's nice. We get to move on from that. I don't know if you guys know this, but the latest guidance from the CDC is that if you have COVID, don't tell anyone. That's the recent policy. They're like, get out there, sneeze on whoever you have to. They're like, we got to restructure, and you know, if we can get our departments right, then we can go back to having the Word of God. But like, it's gonna. By the way, here was the moment that I just knew that like COVID was gonna be over. Like, I was reading the newspaper one day, and I saw this article that apparently scientists found out that Viagra will cure the coronavirus. And when I saw that, my first thought was, how cool is the doctor that figured that one out? You know, some guy turned to his nurse. He's like, hey, I've got an idea. He's like, no, hear me out here. I already took it. Just touch it. I think you'd like it. And then I was like, how great would it have been if, like, Viagra wasn't a generic? You know, so instead of the vaccine, they just forced us all to take Viagra. I would vote for another pandemic. You know, instead of having to show up to a place with a mask, you need to have a tent in your pants. You show up to work, your boss is like, hey, are you wearing loose-fitting pants? Or you show up to work again without a hard dick. We're trying to keep everybody safe. And now that we found out that Viagra cures the coronavirus, the latest science is that basically everything but the vaccine will cure the coronavirus. Like, if you're sick, you can just show up to your pharmacy. You're like, hey, you got anything in here for malaria? Like, no? Well, you got anything in here for horses? And if they say no, you can just go smoke weed. Apparently that works too. They actually found that out. Marijuana will reduce your symptoms. And I'm like, how great is this? There have been people that have been like, you know, they've been staying home, getting masked, like boosting their kids. And then apparently if you were just having sex and smoking weed, you were good. I feel like the lesson from God here was, hey, be cool. And sadly, not everyone's gotten this message, you know, like, have you guys been to the airport? Like, I still fly and I see people wearing masks, like, and they don't just wear masks, they wear masks and, like, they look at you with, like, this nervous, like, squirrel energy, like, it's like, yo, I'm not taking your acorns, you know, and then, and by the way, I'm actually more afraid of you than you are of me, right? Like, you're afraid that I'm gonna get you sick, I'm afraid you're gonna get me locked in my house. Like, this isn't even a comparison. And then, by the way, if you're still wearing a mask, that to me is like if you had a job at a factory and then they closed the factory and you still showed up to work. You're like, what are you doing? Like, to me, at this point, if you're wearing a mask, you basically just have this masochistic relationship with government where you're like, ooh, spank me, daddy. Tell me to stay in my house. I've been a bad boy. And that's why I look at this situation at this point, I want to be separated from anyone wearing a mask. That's my, you know, let's bring back segregation. That's what I think. Like, it was the wrong groups of people, but it was the right idea. That's what I'm trying to say.